As a Jesuit and a psychologist, I get asked one question more than others. What is at the center of the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius of Loyola? Well, to answer that question, stay tuned for our inspiration this morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Today is going to be a great day. My name is Father Frank Buckley. I am so happy to be the host of our morning meditation group, Flourishing During Times of Uncertainty. Welcome. This is a three-part program. We always begin with a little inspiration, then we do the heart of the matter, which is a 20-minute silent meditation. I do just a brief guided meditation to get us into it, and then we sit and enjoy the miracle of meditation for 20 minutes. And at the end, we always conclude with something very close to Ignatius's own heart, the Jesuit Examen, where we look over our recent past, notice where we might have missed God, where God's shadow arose, or where we discovered, contacted, connected with God in beautiful ways. And we try to build a little community. Feel free, if you're new, introduce yourself in the comment box and share where you're from or where you've noticed God moving in your life or how a morning practice may be helping you. I can assure you a morning practice is saving my life during a pandemic, uh, racial injustice, fires. The only thing we're missing are locusts. So let's get started. What's at the center of the exercises of St. Ignatius? Again, I'm going to draw from Father Fagan, putting on the heart of Christ, how the spiritual exercises invite us to a virtuous life. And here's what Father Fagan has to say about this. Gratitude at the center of the spiritual exercises. Though there are only a few explicit references to gratitude in the spiritual exercises, gratefulness is at the heart of the dynamics and movement of the exercises and the experience of the one making the exercises. The principle and foundation at the beginning of the spiritual exercises reminds us that we are created out of love. Sorry, I have a little technical difficulties. The principle and foundation at the beginning of the spiritual exercises remind us that we are created out of love. God created us and continues to create us each moment of our existence. God's unconditional love is the source and continuing foundation of our very lives. This truth evokes in us both the obligation and desire to praise, reverence, and serve God. The principle and foundation also announces that the world and everything in it is the product of God's love. Everything that exists is a gift from the hands of a loving God, as the psalmist proclaims it. O Lord, how manifold your works! In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your creatures. In the words of Ignatius, the other things on the face of the earth are created for human beings. For him, a Christian is one who sees everything as a gift from God. Everything points our minds and our hearts to the giver of all good gifts. Gifts are gifts, however, only when they keep us in touch with the giver. The moment we lose touch with the giftedness of any aspect of our lives, we lose touch with the giver of all gifts. For Ignatius, everything in the world was a continuing gift from the gracious God who never ceases to give to us. The principle and foundation urges us to be aware of the giftedness of our lives. To see everything as a gift is also to see everything as a promise. A gift ceases to be a gift when it only points to the past. A gift is a present reality and a promise of future giving. This is certainly true when we think of God's gifts. The gifts of life and creation that surround us are promises from a faithful God. This awareness leads to trust in God and assurance that His love is never exhausted or limited. Let me repeat, a gift from God that is never exhausted or limited. What a perfect segue into our meditation. And the meditation that Ignatius invites us to is to be contemplatives in action with the accent on contemplation. You heard me right. That comes from Father de Mello. We've missed the mark. We put the accent on action. But for the next 20 minutes, we enter into this present moment. And this present moment is a life of freedom and compassion. And it's a choice. We move towards this life of freedom and compassion, or we get caught up in the spinning and we get a life of confusion, manipulation, and suffering. So for just the next 20 minutes, let's turn the gaze inwards. Let's focus on the present moment. You can either engage your sacred word as in centering prayer and repeat it 3 or 4 times and then drop down, enjoy a little deep rest, or simply notice the traffic around you or the external sounds and pay very close attention to this, letting the hamster wheel of the spinning mind go and giving yourself a little rest and break for the next 20 minutes. So let's begin. I invite you to take your shoes off, either place your legs in cross-legged position or the soles of your feet on the ground. You can close your eyes or lower your eyes, anything that's safe to you, and we'll begin and end with the sound of the bell. Listen, listen. The sound of the bell returns us to our true home. As always, we begin with diaphragmatic breathing to get us grounded, just breathing deeply as possible into the lower belly 3 times. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Last time, give it your all. Inhale and exhale. Focus on an intention for this morning's practice. Ignatius invites us to ask for something we deeply desire in our life in this moment, being courageous enough to ask God for something beautiful. We'll seal that intention with an inhale and an exhale. Drop down and enjoy a little deep rest. Please continue. Mm. Gently bring your attention back to your surroundings. If the eyes were closed, go ahead, open the eyes. Let's circle the wrists one way, then the other. Excellent. Let's rub the hands together, bringing a little oxytocin love hormone into the body and the heart. Good. And then just place the hands next to the heart. Notice the warmth. Inhale and exhale, release. Wonderful job, everyone. Now we'll move on to the third part of the program, which is our Jesuit Examine. And again, I invite you, as you look back over your last 24 hours, feel free to put something in the comment box. We try to build a little community in the middle of a pandemic. Um, and one of the ways we really flourish in life is through connection. It's easy to feel isolated and alone during this time, but if you have a community of like-minded souls that come together, it can help us to flourish. So just noticing over the last 24 hours, first thing that pops into my mind and heart is when I pull into the center. Today is Tuesday, and we have our Flourishing in Recovery group for people living on the streets struggling with addiction. It's on our beautiful patio with physical distancing, and I saw people all lined up all the way down Selma Street, waiting to get in and get their temperature taken, a little coffee, and then a group at 11. So that makes me very, very happy. Um, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm a little zoomed out, so a little real contact definitely helps. Also, I'm reading Charlotte Yoko Beck's book, Everyday Zen, which I am really, really loving. I took a little of our introduction from that. She says Einstein's formula changed the world, E equals mc squared. But then she offers a formula, she says, not necessarily better, but as important. And that is zero, zero being a sphere, this present moment, is equivalent, equals a life of freedom and compassion. And that's what we avail ourselves when we practice a life of freedom and compassion. Or she says we can get stuck in our core beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm unlovable. No one loves me. I'm never going to succeed. All of those old tapes we probably picked up when we were around 5. And the core belief is equivalent to confusion, manipulation, and suffering. But when we have a morning practice, we get to engage this zero equals a life of compassion and freedom. And we know freedom is at the heart of the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius. I'm a big believer in synchronicity. When all of this comes together, our lives get more rich and more beautiful. Thank you all for tuning in this morning on Tuesday. It's a little cooler in Hollywood. We still have a little smoky air, but I think things are starting to look up. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. God bless you.